What is happening, guys? Welcome back. So we're back on with the Polo, and in the last episode we revealed and showed you the wheels that were fitting to the car and the arches that we've been making a little bit wider. It seems to have gone down pretty well. There's only been a couple of people coming in, what are you using reps for? It's a budget build. We want to try and get that high-end look but on a budget. So we're using replica wheels, but it's not the end of the world. Anyway, in this episode we're going to carry on with a bit of metal work. What I'm thinking I'm going to do now is we're going to get the inner arch on and the inner arch all welded in this place. Then I want to get the sill on, because then we can pretty much finish up the shaping of the rear arch and know it's all going to be good. So, yeah, GoPro out. Let's get started. Good morning, guys. So, good day yesterday. We've got this front corner down here all repaired. If you remember, it was all full of rot. Just flat pieces of steel that were cut to the shape, hammered around into the shape to form them. Yeah, it wasn't actually too bad. We got those on, done, sorted. That's that all solid again. And then we moved on to getting the sill on. Now, I imagine I'm going to get comments saying, you didn't fit the door when you were putting the sill on. No, I didn't fit the door because I'd got everything set, ready to go to test the door, went for my lunch and then ended up having to go and do something else for a few hours, came back in a rush, wanted to get it welded on, as you shouldn't do, and completely forgot to test the door. But luckily this morning, we've tested the door, it fits absolutely bang on, gap is very nice. We will test the door on the other side though, because I don't think we'll get that lucky twice. But we wanted to get the sill on before we carried on with the arch to make sure that this front part of the arch here was in the correct place. And there was a very slight ripple in this rear quarter, which I think was because that bottom part of it had came out. But it's all sitting where it wants to now. It's all looking nice. There's a little dent there, but we can sort it out. So that side is all sorted. What we're going to do now is jump on to sorting this side out. We've got this lower corner down here to repair. And we've got the sill to fit on. And apologise for you didn't see me cutting all of that sill off and welding the inner part of the outer part of the inner arch on this side. GoPro decided it didn't want to work. So, yeah, but that's all on, in, welded in. So, GoPro back on. Let's jump on the other side and do exactly what we did yesterday. Before we get on with that, I've had loads of messages over the past few months asking when merch was going to be back in stock. And I'm pleased to say that we've done a restock. The garment's going to be in my hands in about 2 to 3 weeks. But we've set the website live with them on, with the quantities that we've ordered are available for pre-order. So if you want one, head over and grab one. Like I say, it's very, very limited quantity that we've done on it. I don't do print on demand because I've had friends have problems with it. So it's all printed. I buy it beforehand and I physically hold the stock. So yeah, if you want to ensure you get one, head over to dacind.com and grab one now before it all sells out. Right, let's get this sill welded on. Right, just thought I'd show you what we've just been making to repair this lower corner. So we only really need to repair up to this area here because the rest of it's okay. We're ignoring it, we'll sort that out in a bit. So we've made this new piece, which started off as a flat piece, as you saw. We used masking tape to get a rough shape, so we weren't trying to pull too much metal around. We then started off with 2 clamps on the flat piece of metal there, and then sort of tried to start this curve and then tried to start this curve as well. Like I said in the last one, it rippled and basically this bit went in, so there was a divot there. We basically took that over. I've got an old steel, one of the old steels from when we did the building, and a little dolly, put it on the dolly and that, and hammered it and got some of the form back, and it worked quite well to pull that metal back out. It's just the way that it wants to bend, it pulls the metal, but we've managed to pull it back. We've managed to get this little lip in here, and then all these contours around. Really just using a hammer, and I've been using this, it's got the ball peen on the end, and you can get into a nice little radius with it, and a chisel as well, or like a drift, to try and knock bits back. So I'll take this off and show you the bit underneath. So we've obviously bolted it up there, Cleco down there, and then some mole grips as well. But if we remove that, that is what we are removing. You've got curve here, this bit changes and that angle comes out. It isn't A1 perfect, it isn't obviously a factory stamping, but for what we're doing, I think it's more than good enough. So we can get this back on, mark everything out, get all of the bad bit cut out, and then we'll get this welded on, and then we can put the sill on. And there we go. So we've repaired this front corner here, which it looks pretty good. It's nice and solid again. It's not a factory stamping, but for what we're doing, I think it's more than good enough. When it's all stone chipped, you'll never know. Sill is all on, welded, sorted out. I've started dressing the back, grinding it down. Front we still need to do. But what we want to move on to now is sorting out that rear wheel arch and get the outer arch part all welded together. Then we can move on to sorting the outer part of the inner arch, which we need to cut out, move up, basically tub the rear so that the tyre has got somewhere to go up into the arch. So let's get on with that. And there we go, so that both arches now are welded up and we've sorted the inner arch out, and I'll go through now and show you what we've done. So on this passenger side arch, it isn't amazing, and that's because I made a bit of a mistake. So when we welded, I think I mentioned it earlier in the video, when we welded this all up and there was a wobble in the panel here, which was because the sill wasn't on and that panel had sort of pulled, I think it pulled out, which meant that there was a bit of a shake in that. I thought it was the way that I'd welded it up. So when I'd pretty much welded the majority of it up, I went back through with the grinder and cut it all open again, which meant that when I now wanted to go and weld it back together, which is what looks a mess, I had no reference point to get it flush again. So I had to do my best with it. So this arch really doesn't look the best and is going to take a bit of filler work. We've managed to keep the radius from the body, which is what I wanted. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit of hammer and dolly work and a little bit of filler work to get that arch where I want it to be. However, this side, while it's still not an Instagram perfection of you can't even see where it's been welded, this one looks a hell of a lot better because we actually took a time with this one and knew what we were doing with it. So they are both welded up, done. I've been measured them and they are the same within a couple of mil, which is more than I can ask for really with the experience or whatever that we've got doing it. And they look mega. So I'll roll it over now and I'll show you the inner arch, what we've done with that. So it rolled over, this is now the driver's side. The inner arch we did both sides differently because I was testing which way to do things. This was the first one that we did.
Before anyone goes scolding me about how bad the welds look in these wheel arches, I'm fully aware they're not very neat. I only went in, took the tops off to make sure the tyre cleared everything. I need to go back in, clean them up, make them look nice. So yeah, I'm fully aware they're not the neatest.
I basically, the original, or the new tub that we put in, I slit it in several places, hammered it back, and here we managed to get it to come back and meet the rear quarter. But along this bit here, we couldn't. So we made some templates, made some new pieces of steel that have gone in. And then from there up, we managed to use the tub that we put in and beat it back. Few slits, bit of trimming, get it back and get it looking doing what we wanted it to do. Now, we've fully welded it to sort of these bits in the inside. But this outer piece isn't fully welded because I don't want to go getting too much heat into the rear quarter. But obviously everything is going to be primed and all of the welds will have seam sealer on them. And then this will all have stone chip on anyway, so it'll be nice and watertight. And then on to the passenger side, which is the second one that I did. I did this one slightly different. So basically what I've done with this one is I've gone back and cut an amount of the tub off and left like 20-30 mil on to the centre of it. And I've then just made, that's original tub still. We've cut it there. We've made a single piece for there. We've made a single piece for there, single piece for there, and then a single piece for that bit. And then the very front bit again is the original tub. And this one has got a bit more clearance and is slightly higher because it's welded up near the swage line. Whereas on this side, it's welded somewhere there, so it's a little bit higher on this side. Not a problem, neither of them are bad, I don't think. I think they're both okay. I just sort of did it to see what worked better. That side looks neater, but we couldn't get this side to do what that side did very easily, so we decided to do it this way, which I'd say this is more of a tubbing way of doing it. That's manipulating the arch and getting it looking right, or giving us the clearance. This is tubbing because we cut it out and made and squared it off, sort of, so to speak. So they're both done, and both, yeah, I think they're more than acceptable and look good. Still things to do on the back end. We need to get all this rear panel sorted out. We need to clean all this in here off, weld this back panel back on and get this rear corner back in. And then I think that is pretty much the rear end welding done. The front end, we've got this hole down here to fix. There's a little bit of rot up here that we need to fix as well. And I think as long as we grind all this back and it's good metal behind it, except the underseal off that still, I think we're about done with the welding there. We've got a new front panel to put on, but if we can manipulate this one and get this one sitting in the right place and looking good, we're going to save ourselves a bit of money because we can send that one back and give us a bit more money towards the end of the budget. And we don't want to go and doing things that we don't need to be doing. So I've spent a little bit more money this week, and I have got a passenger side wing. So I think in the last episode we said we needed a passenger side wing. We've got one of those now, which, funnily enough, I bought from the guy that gave me the car. So massive thank you to James and his son for selling me that. That'll get the front end back together, and we need to then modify those front arches for the wheels, which leads me on to something else that we have purchased, which we need to get on before we can do the arches, which are a pair of Mark 1 Golf hubs. So I think in the previous video we discussed it, that the suspension on these are the hub, you can see down there, the hub and the strut are all one thing. You can't really do a lot with them. Coilovers are very expensive, and from what I can gather, not the best. So I've seen people do it, and they convert them to Mark 1 Golf hubs, which basically means we're going to have to cut the steering arm, which is this bit, this bit just here, off this strut, and we're going to have to weld it onto the coilovers that we're going to be putting onto the car and get it all in the right place. Shouldn't be too bad of a job. People have done it in the past, so yeah, hopefully it'll be all right. We just need to make sure we get everything in the right place, and I need to work top mounts out as well. But yeah, so we've bought hubs, we've got a wing, and we need to take a little bit of money off of the spend from last week. So back over to the trusty whiteboard, and as I mentioned a minute ago, we've got a bit of an error that we need to sort out. So a couple of people commented on the last video saying that I'd messed up and I hadn't taken off the discount that you get from Heritage Parts Centre from the parts that they had supplied. So a massive thank you to Heritage for sponsoring the channel, working with me on the builds, and in this episode, supplying me with the Sills. If you order anything from Heritage Parts Centre, use the code CHAMBERS to get yourself 10% off your order, which is what I completely forgot to do with these numbers. And if we have a few more bits from them, it could add up at the end and mean that we either hit the £5 target or go over it. So we need to change the total prices down here. I'll alter these later. I've not worked that out yet. So we have got a minus, so there was a saving of £36.74p, meaning that the new project spend total was £1,516.61p, leaving £3,483.39. Right, so that gets us back to where we were last week, which I need to rub out again, so it was a waste of time in doing that. But anyway, we will carry on. So on the end, the spends, we've got the Mark 1 hubs and we've got the wing. So the hubs were £50 and the wing was also £50. So that gives us a total project spend, including the discount, which I'll alter these in a bit, of £1,616.61, leaving us with £3,383.39. So yeah, we've spent a little bit in this one. Next episode we're probably going to be spending even more money because we need to start looking at and thinking about engines, etc. Because that one, well, I don't think we're using that one, but I digress. Spend on consumables. We've got a little bit more to spend on that. I had to get another bottle of welding gas, but Ian's not sent me the price over for that yet, so I don't know how much that was, so we'll update that in the next one. Hours-wise, this week I've really not been out here very much. We've got an extension started on the house that I've been in and out of helping or looking at stuff with builders and picking stuff up and all sorts. So this week we've added another 32 hours, meaning that we are at 102 hours so far into the project, which I don't think is too bad really, considering what we've got done. So nearly another one done, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, what we're doing. I've said it, I think, in the past couple of episodes, but hopefully, fingers crossed, the next episode, all of the welding will be done, meaning we are back to a nice solid shell. And then the fun stuff can really begin on, working out what we're going to do engine-wise. We need to get the hubs on, we want to get the wheels on, then we can work out all the front and everything oh, there's still so much to do. So yeah, we need to get that back on its wheels, get it off the lift so that we can get the van on the lift, because we need to get the engine out, as I mentioned in the last episode, because we're supposed to be going away in this next month. We've got sample MDF units in there that we've just ran out just to make sure that I'm happy with my scribes and everything, because it's all fully CNC'd. In the ideal world, there's no cutting. There might be a little bit of trimming, but they fit. So yeah, we've got that to do as well. So we need to get this off the lift, on the floor, and rolling. But hopefully you've enjoyed this one then, guys. Until next time, enjoy.